You, long before I got this involved, I used to get great press. Remember, before I ran for politics, I guess that's how I got elected. Yeah. I was the boy wonder. I was getting great press. I mean, historically, I would get pretty good press. Long before that, you were hitting the press pretty hard. They were also hitting you pretty hard, and you realized it was unfair.
Right.
No, I said they're the enemy of the people. I came up with the fake news.
I know.
They're one of the best of all names. They're fake news. But now I realize it's not strong enough. They're really the corrupt news. They're very corrupt.
As I look at the deep state, let's just pretend you're going to run again.
Okay.
And you're president.
They're very corrupt.
2 terms. You'll have 4 years. As I look at it, you have to pretty much clean house at Justice, the FBI, CIA, NSC, NIH, the State Department, Treasury, HHS, Department of Education, and the Department of Energy. Their roots are deep in those.
Deep. Many, many years.
Can you, in 4 years, I know you're good at this, you'd had a show, you're fired. No. Can you fire and replace all of those things in 4 years?
You pretty much have to. Look, when I got elected, I was only in Washington, D.C. 17 times, they say. I mean, I think it's about that right, but they did say. Of the 17, I never stayed overnight. And many of those times we're building a hotel, which is a beautiful hotel,
great hotel,
at the old post office, right on Pennsylvania Avenue. So I was never here. I never was into the world of the Washington, D.C. All of a sudden, I'm president. And I rely on people. We had great people. We had some great people, and we had some bad choices, too. The answer is yes, we have to do that. And it can be absolutely done. But I realized as time went by, and I got to know. I went from knowing nobody to knowing just about everybody. I know incredible people. And we did. Look, we rebuilt the military. We did so many different things that nobody, including the vaccines, but we did so many things that nobody thought possible. You know, one, right to try, where the FDA is very slow with drugs, we got to cut in half. But still, if somebody's dying terminally ill, and we have something that's great, we now are able to give it to them because, and it's working miracles. What's happening to people, it's incredible, saving lives. But we did so many things. But now I know what's happening. I know so many people that are so great, that are longing to come in with the same attitude that you have of changing it. Now, for 30 years, whether it's Bush and some of the Republicans are, honestly, some of these rhino Republicans are worse than
Mitch McConnell.
They're worse. Mitch McConnell is a disaster. He's a total disaster. He gave up the debt ceiling for nothing. He just gave them the debt ceiling. He is a total disaster, Mitch. But when you take a look, the Republicans, we've had Bush, Clinton, Obama, and at that time, many, many years of people being put into place. They've been there for 30 years, 35 years. Has to be cleaned out. Has to be cleaned out.
Introducing Speechalo, the most natural sounding text-to-speech software on the market. Hey, I'm
You can't go in and do another 4 years if you have the same kind of GOP support that you had last time.
Right.
How do we get the GOP? What should the GOP and the people who vote that way, should we be demanding right now?
And I had great GOP support. Let me tell you, we have some great people. As you know, Jim Jordan and so many, Jim Banks. We have a lot of great people.
Yeah.
Great people. Remember this, on the impeachment hoax, number one, in Congress, I got 196 votes to nothing. Nobody's ever heard of that, especially with the Republican Party. And with the Senate, other than Romney, who I lost a half a vote, I got 100% of the vote. We have some great support. We have great people. But we have to let them go to town. We have to let them go to town.
What does that mean?
I don't think we have any, we have to let the good ones do what they're doing. And I will say, and I've said it a lot, when I came in to this job, I had 2 jobs, run the country and survive. Because I was investigated viciously from the day I came down the escalator with a very popular future First Lady. But I came down the escalator in Trump Tower, and I was under investigation from that day. And I had to run the country, and I had to survive. And despite the fact that I had to survive and did survive, we did more than any president, virtually any president, when you look at all of the things we could go through them so lengthy, including the rebuilding. And can you imagine? We rebuild our military, and then they give $85 billion worth of that equipment to the Taliban. And they take the generals move our military out before they take our citizens out.
I've always trusted our military. My son wanted to go into the military.
It's been hurt very badly.
I don't know if I can tell my son to go in the military. I trust the military. I do not trust the command now.
I call them the television generals. But remember this, I took over 100% of the caliphate. If you look at it, ISIS, the caliphate.
I'm the caliphate king. I watched.
And I took down al-Baghdadi. You know who al-Baghdadi was? And that was from day one. I said, the military is great. We have great generals, but not these television guys like Milley. We have great generals, and I know a lot of them. And by the way, they were so supportive of me. Do you ever see the list of the generals and admirals in support of President Trump? But we took out 100% of the ISIS caliphate. Think of that, in Syria, in Iraq, and got al-Baghdadi and Soleimani and so many others. And you know, the military is great, but the guys on television are terrible. Secretary of Defense, you take a look at what's happening over there. They made so many bad decisions. Think of this, and don't believe that China, Russia, Kim Jong-un, Iran wasn't watching. When we surrendered in Afghanistan, it was like we surrendered. To take the military out first and to leave American hostages, it's probably thousands of them, and to take hundreds of thousands of people out of Afghanistan. We had no idea who they were. There are many terrorists in that group. Only 3% of them, it now turns out, were qualified to leave. But to do that and to lose soldiers, we lost 13, but we were badly, badly wounded, meaning no arms, no legs. 28 soldiers, and 250 people overall were killed. This should have never happened. We had an understanding, I had, with Abdul. He was the head, and he still is the head of the Taliban. In 18 months, not one American soldier was killed. And I wanted to get out more than anybody, you know that. I got it down to 2,500 soldiers. We were going to take everything out. All the equipment was starting, and I said, I don't want to leave a nail, a screw, a bolt, a tank, a plane. Everything comes out, even the tents that we used as the hangars, everything. They said, sir, it's cheaper to leave it. I said, we're taking everything. And we were going to keep Bagram. Very important, because Bagram bombed the other 5 places. And I said, bomb them from air, use it as practice. But we're keeping Bagram because it's right next to China, 1 hour away from where they make nuclear weapons. And to watch these people give up everything, and now China is occupying Bagram.
I will tell you, Mr. President, and I've never said this to anybody, nobody knows this. You know, we went in and we rescued a lot of people in Afghanistan.
That's right.
The State Department was so horrible, but one of the planes that they said, they have to fill, we had to fly out before we could get any of our other people out. Some of our own soldiers. My first plane we flew out after the collapse of the airport was filled with our own soldiers. And I have to tell you, we made the deal because that was the only deal that would get the other people out. But when the United States of America leaves some of our own special forces back and needs a private charity to fly them out, it's reprehensible, reprehensible.
Not even believable. By the way, not even believable. And I'm going to tell you, there's a fly on your hair.
Thank you.
And you know what? The last time there was a fly on somebody's hair, it didn't work out so well. I know. I just saw a fly. Did you see that? You'll see it. And I said, you know what? Get that fly off your hair.
Thank you.
Beautiful, the job. So beautiful.
The book that you guys are putting out, the coffee table book, I hope it has focused somewhat on her work that she did. Yes. And B is, did you do a coffee table picture book? Because there's another 4 years that you're going to have to write to put it into a real biography of your presidential years?
So we did a book which has been selling like hotcakes,
Yeah.
150,000 in the first 2 weeks. And normally a book like that won't sell to the same extent, you know, because they're waiting for the other book where I talk about a lot of stories.
Yeah.
But I write about certain photos. And I did it really for a different reason. It's so sad, our country right now. I don't think we've ever been lower. And despite all of the witch hunts and the phony Russia impeachments, it was a beautiful time. We had the greatest economy in history. We then had the China virus come in, and then I rebuilt the economy. I really rebuilt it twice. The second time harder than the first. But we had the greatest economy, the greatest everything. It was a glamour pit. It was a beautiful period. And now I see what's happening with energy, with inflation, with the military, with these clowns. And I said, you know what, let's put out a book talking about how beautiful it was, because we're going to make it that way again. And it's people like you that really, you have done such an incredible job. You give people hope. It's so important because there are not a lot of people that understand that word, hope. But you give people hope, and you have for a long time. And I really commend you on it.
Thank you, Mr. President. I hope we get a chance to talk again, and I sincerely hope that you are running again.
Oh, thank you very much.
In 4 years. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
On Sunday, the New York Times editorial board ran a story declaring, quote, January 6th is not in the past, it's every day. That pretty much summarizes the left's whole philosophy of January 6th. The Times editorial goes on to rant about how Republican lawmakers at the state level are passing laws that are a continuation of the Capitol riot. Quote, in a bloodless and legalized form. That is so dumb, I don't even know where to begin on that. The state laws will be subjected to all of the normal legal scrutiny and challenges, and they're being passed by elected representatives under constitutional rules. This is how this process is supposed to work. But you see, the left doesn't like the process. They've always hated it. And that's why Chuck Schumer is going to force a vote in the Senate this month on abolishing the filibuster. That's why President Biden issued 77 executive orders in his first year in office. That's the most of any president in a single year since Jimmy Carter in 1978. Democrats don't like the constitutional process because it's difficult. It means they can't achieve the level of power and control that they want because it includes you, the people. The left is wrong about January 6th. It's not every day. It's a backward-looking strategy and failing with regular Americans. The left and the media are so disengaged from what the average American cares about right now, it's startling. Starting with midterm elections this November and continuing into the next presidential election, the candidate who will win will be the one that earns credibility with regular Americans by actually listening to them and then doing what they said. Democrats used to understand this, but now they're the party of grievances, socialism, control, and payback. If Donald Trump decides to run again in 2024, which I think it seemed pretty clear to me that he was, he would win if he uses the same kind of tactics that he did in 2016. He won in 2016 because he listened to the half of America, plus, that the left dismisses every time. They are losing their base. Whoever challenges Joe Biden is going to have to be open, honest, and run a positive campaign. One that looks over the horizon. One that will fill people with the feeling, yeah, this can be fixed, and I'll do it. Positive campaign because America is clearly headed in a disastrous direction under the current leadership, and the first opportunity to correct.
I hope you guys learned something tonight. It was pretty awesome. Got to hear from President Trump, got to hear about what was going on, and sorry about a few little advertisements that was there, but I was trying to let you guys see that. And you know that right now they're trying to destroy every which way to try to stop President Trump from running in the next election. They're trying every which way. They're trying to bring up Russian collusion, the Capitol bill, every which way. And we actually had a senator a Democratic senator that said that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to stop him because their game is up. If he comes back in, he'll take them all out, and they're shaking their boots and trying to do everything they can to stop that. And we're seeing that amongst the nation right now. So, folks, you know, pray for our nation. It's so very important that we pray for the nation. This broadcast was a little unique. I'm still trying to get a handle of doing this show. I've kind of got a handle of doing all the other shows. It's just trying to get in the process of doing this show. So I'm kindly, moving over and doing this as well. So bear with me, and I'm trying to get all this together. I hope you enjoy all these programs that I have on Christians Concerned for the U.S. There's going to be many coming. Anytime that I find something awesome that is awesome to share with you guys on Christians Concerned for the U.S. on Facebook, I will share it as much as I can. The YouTube, I just now got that on the Christians Concerned for the U.S. I got the YouTube going just now for the broadcast to be able to go there. I might put more videos on there later tonight just to fill the YouTube page, or where you guys have something to look at over there. But, yes, on the Facebook page is the place to go, the Christians Concerned for the U.S. That's the page to go for all the local news, or not the local news, but the new political news that you need to inform you. I've had a lot of people come to me and tell me a lot of fake news. Even in the Patriot side, there is fake news that's being pushed to people, and some people will come and ask me about it, and I'll warn them about it. I said, be careful. There's fake news, promises that's not real that they're trying to put towards you, and be very careful with what that is. Be careful, folks, with crazy news that's out there. I mean, I've heard about, them putting microchips in your arm and all this weird stuff that we're hearing. And I know I had a relative of mine that did get the shot, and they was trying to see if they got microchips. So they had magnets and trying to see what – they didn't find anything, but they saw it on Facebook. So they thought they'd try it too, if you know what I mean. So it's something you got to be careful of, is things that you hear on Facebook. There's a lot of crazy things out there, so be very careful what you hear. And I'm trying to get some of the more sensible news on my page, things that does make sense, that is truth. I know there's a lot of Facebook, Facebook is going to mark anything false, no matter whether it's truth or what. They're going to mark it, and if it's false, they'll actually promote the false stuff, but the true stuff, they'll remove that completely. I mean, if you want the false stuff, it's on Facebook all day long. You put truth, they'll mark it as false, and they'll remove it. They don't want you to know the truth. They want you to know the untruth. They'll promote that, but the truth they'll get rid of. So, folks, be careful about a lot of that stuff. And, if you ever need to know anything, if you want to ask something, you can message me and say, hey, Stan, is this truth? Have you heard anything about that? I'll be more than happy to try to help you with that. But I want to say God bless you, and thank you for watching this show. Is called Christians Concerned for the U.S. God bless you, and I will see you guys. Bible study, folks, I will be seeing you in about an hour. But a lot of the guys that's going to be listening to the broadcast, it will be probably, I'll say you'll be listening to me Friday night. God bless you, and see you then. We go.